You know, we actually never had two-a-days like most people do because all of us worked. You know, I worked in a sawmill. A lot of my other buddies that played hauled pulpwood. So we practiced football at night. When I was a junior, we won a state championship. We were 14-0. I think Coach Felker was at the game and saw me catch a pass as a tight end, and I think Mississippi State started recruiting me after that.
Bill Sartin was a starting offensive lineman at Mississippi State University, expected to be a high draft pick following his senior season in 1993.
I guess they recruited me as a tight end and linebacker, you know, and then I reported at 260, and they gave me number 67 and put me on the defensive line, and it was a great opportunity for me to be there. It was kind of frustrating when I first got there. They gave me a piece of tape, and I asked them, what's the tape in this pen for? You know, after they've been telling me all along how great I am, how good I'm going to be. And the guy says, well, write your last name on the piece of tape and stick it to your helmet so we know who you are. And I was like, man, I thought they knew me. So went out there and ran with some old high-top shoes on, and I ran like a 5 flat, and the guys at I guess the scouts kind of went crazy because I was, you know, about 315, and I could run a 5 flat, and I was pretty strong.
What'd you do on the bench?
Did 225, 27 times, and I didn't really think it was that big a deal, you know, because the guys I was playing with every day did the same thing. You know, I mean, well, just went out there and worked every day, and I guess we had a blue-collar mentality that, you know, we were linemen. You know, we did what we do. We just went to work every day.
In the second game of the 93 season, something happened that would change the course of Bill's life.
I took a pass set and I went to push off, and you know, the defensive end was coming inside, so I had to stop him from coming inside. And my knee blew out to the left. I really didn't know what happened. I mean, I could feel my, you know, knee do that. I couldn't get my foot out from under me. While I was on the ground, I kept trying to get up, and I couldn't get my foot out. And I actually, I guess later on, they told me I dislocated my knee.
Sartin's left knee was effectively destroyed. Multiple ligaments torn, but the damage didn't stop there. A nerve had been severed, along with vascular damage.
Do you remember kind of your reaction when you got out there and he's on the ground and you checked him out? You remember that?
Well, I remember getting there and his leg was still laying crooked.
Team orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Rusty Linton, was the first to diagnose Sartin's injury.
Kind of moved it back straight. Some of them don't just pop right back in. His went back in, but then we put a brace on it and really didn't try to move it any much more than that. But we knew right away, you know, this is going to be a long pathway ahead of it.
My foot was paralyzed because you know, maybe the nerve, I'd gotten hit on the nerve or something like that. It was something that I've never experienced, a pain that I've never experienced. Well, Dr. Linton came out to the field to check on me, and he turned my leg all the way to the left and all the way to the right. And, you know, Dr. Linton, he had a look of fear in his eyes, and I did too. You know, I was scared. I didn't know what was going on.
We knew the injury was so bad that we immediately, you know, put him in a brace, went ahead and sent him to the hospital. Well, what we didn't know is after the game was over and I went by to check him, I went in his room and his foot was cold, meaning that he had lost circulation to his foot. So instead of, you know, MRIs and a planned surgery a few days later, it became an emergency all-night surgery, and are we going to be able to save his leg?
And Andy said, Bill, we got a problem. He said, you don't have a pulse in your foot. And I said, I don't have a pulse in my foot. And so they, you know, start rushing all kind of people around me, and they do an arteriogram. I have two places in my artery that are torn or severed. One in my knee and then one a little lower down behind my shin. I'm laying there on the table and the vascular surgeon, you know, says, Bill, I can't promise you I'm gonna bring you back with your leg. And I said, man, I don't know what you're talking about. You bring me back with my leg. He said, I can't promise you that. I said, you bring me back with my leg and I'll deal with the rest of it. I'll take care of it from here on out.
I watched Bill's injury once on tape, and that's all I need to see.
Todd Jordan was the quarterback that day, his blind side being protected by Bill Sartin.
But the next day, we started hearing severed nerve. Bill could lose his leg, this, that, and the other. And, you know, we had just been through something similar a couple of years ago with Rodney Stowers, lower leg injury, developed blood embolism, and died. So you start thinking the worst, obviously, when you've been through that. But they assured us it was nothing like that, and it was just something you hated for Bill because he was going to make a lot of money going forward.
It ranks up there as being one of the toughest ones. That was a real interesting week. Believe it or not, I saw 3 different football players with knee dislocations in 8 days surrounding Bill's, and the other 2 did not happen to damage their artery or their nerve. And so even though they hurt 3 ligaments, one high schooler got back to playing, one junior college got back to playing, but Bill, who ended up, thank the good Lord, we were able to save his leg, but the nerve never came back, which meant he lost the push-off power to his leg, so he could never play pro football.
His knee injury and subsequent complications ended his playing career in a blink. So he went into coaching. After a decade on the sidelines in Starkville, Brookhaven, and Meridian, he decided it was time for another change of course in his life.
Part of the reason of me leaving coaching football and going into insurance was, you know, I was sitting there talking to Madison one night, and she was, I think, 8, and she was talking about some things, and I didn't know what she was doing. And you know, I missed the opportunity. I was spending more time with everybody else's children than I was my own children. You know, when I would go speak, when I was the head coach at Meridian, I always say, you know, if I can't coach, I'll just go sell insurance.
So in 2003, Bill became a Farm Bureau insurance agent in a highly competitive industry. Now, a little over 15 years later, he manages 3 offices in the fastest growing county in Mississippi, Desoto County, just this side of Memphis.
And since I've been able to come to Farm Bureau, I hadn't missed anything that any of my children have done. And you know, I couldn't be prouder of Madison and Morgan and Will. And they make it easy to be a daddy, I can promise you that. I've been blessed with some great children.
Is he the only person you know that's killed 2 turkeys with 1 shot?
I don't know, but he did. That was a pretty amazing day. I mean, we're walking there, and I said, Will, look. And, you know, I'm waiting, and Will shoots. The 2 turkeys are fighting, and Will shoots, and he kills both of them with 1 shot. And I'm like, man, you didn't even give your daddy a chance.
There's a theory out there that life isn't defined by what happens to you. Instead, it's about how you respond to what happens. As far as anyone's concerned, Bill Sartin is living proof.